All right, good afternoon. This is the CSRN podcast, a weekend review. As always, what we're going to do right now is share our intro video. That way you can like, share, and comment. This is the CSRN podcast weekend review. We'll be right back.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review where we come to you live. We're streaming live today. Hey, let's go ahead and get into some intros. We got a dynamite show today. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey. Jody, we got to bring them back on. I think we can find Jabril at, I don't want to say at any corner. I don't want to say that because he might be listening. And Mike Leonardi's in Italy, getting it in. It was them that 10 years ago, they had this idea of community solidarity. That meant that you don't have to be a pastor, politician, preacher, or professional. You can have just regular people. You got your facts, you got a bullhorn, and we don't have to send it up the chain. It's decentralized and we can get it in. What am I wearing today? Today I have on my brown hat. I got my brown glasses on, kind of got a maroon pull up. Pull up, not like the diaper. Pull up, zip up, whatever this is. My wife, she'll straighten me out later on. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. We're doing this for the protest culture and the activist community, getting it in. And it's a beautiful space to be where we can speak truth to power, regardless what they think, regardless how the chips fall. Jody, if you could do your intro, we're going to get into our mission statement and keep it moving.
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, the treasurer of this wonderful organization that's been going on for 10 years, a decade, plus one, because in November, in a couple months, it'll be 11.
That's right.
Thank you for joining us every single week. We know we weren't here last week, April Fools and all that stuff, but we have a business to take care of.
They thought we was going to be here. All right.
Well, I thought we was going to be here too for National Poetry Month, but we're here today.
All right.
Come back and stuff. A lot of stuff has gone and happened on in the world and everything like that. So if you are out there watching, we thank you for your patience, your time, your attention. And if you are on the road, we don't want your attention, so come back and watch us later. I know in about June, July, I think it is, we will be transitioning to downloading our stuff or just catch us on YouTube for any of our backlog, because they don't have the rule. I know Meta has rolled out. If you are going live of any type, if it's longer than 30 days, all your videos will be deleted. So in about a month or two, there's going to be a lot of stuff wiped from the internet, all those live videos and everything like that. My description, because we want to describe ourselves to you again. If you're out taking care of business, kids, all that stuff. I just had a grandbaby. We don't want you staring at your screen, so we describe ourselves. And I'm a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and stones and bones, artifacts and artwork. From doing this for the last decade, from deciding to be my own legend and not following somebody's footsteps that aren't really mine. But I did want to say this in advocacy of everything, because last week I was going to do a piece and I popped out a piece because a lot is going on in the world right now. And all the, how do I put it? Internet warriors want to do real advocacy. So I made a post that I wanted to open up today's show with. And as soon as I find it here, it is this. Sometimes we unintentionally put targets on people's backs. I'm an advocate. And if I tell you we, us, or give an organization's name, that means if you weren't in the planning room, meeting stage, or plan to be on the front line, don't ask who. Because some people will run off with that individual's name thinking that they can stop a movement, not knowing the people that they endanger who are just trying to help. Some people don't want to see justice served because it benefits them indirectly. Others just want a story so they can say they got some information. And then there are those that will do anything to anyone so they won't have to face justice themselves. Thank you for listening, and please protect your advocates, because we are people too.
All right. Okay. Should I be snapping my fingers? All right. All right. That's what's up.
A lot. People think that we just go out here and we're chasing ambulances and stuff. My docket is full. I run several nonprofits. I have an elected office. I do food banks. I write poetry. I do books. I do illustrations. I do clothing. And my phone is always on. People call me 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning to tell me stuff. So if you don't see me at events, if you don't see me at stuff, it's because I'm already handling the things that I am able to handle. A lot of us, again, whether it's therapists, domestic violence, prevention of any type. We're people too. So we got to go home and deal with the same problems everybody else does, luckily. And hopefully some of us have some great support systems ourselves. I've never met a person in this field that doesn't tell me they have somebody else to talk to too, no matter what secrets they have. So that is my little spill on all of the internet warriors who are now convinced that they know something.
Okay. How do we get to where we are?
So, yeah, how do you get to that? Because this is about to be probably one of the craziest summers. It looks like we might be going back 5 years or maybe even 8 years to 2016 or 2020 with the way the protest and the stuff and the Orange Man is office and started. And that's a lot of entities, a lot of people who have trauma or are angry or might have good ideas. They've just never had the right place to utilize them. And you got to weed them out.
Okay.
Whether you're in food, because there'll always be somebody to tell you that grandma can cook better than you. Whether you're in your social service, because there's always somebody to tell you they know how to do stuff better than you. So this is how we kind of broke it down with a mission statement
and our guiding principles,
which is kind of the thing that's going to keep this organization going long after me and Brother Washington are gone. There are many people behind the scenes that, as I put in my first statement, that we don't need to tell you about because they are playing their part, whether it's in funding, administration, setting up events, finding venues that do as much as they can handle. So this is our mission statement. This is what we started with 10 years ago and decided to be the hill that we decided to die on.
Okay.
Not dire wolves.
I didn't know that part, but okay. I guess you didn't sign me up. All right, let's go.
Well, not dire wolves, because we might be resurrected in 13,000 years. Anyway, we are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, provoked, attacked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often, yes, most often, police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of civil protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice, yes, voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable, yes, accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter. Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. And justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
All right. And hopefully later on in the broadcast, we're going to talk about our Black Lives Matter moment. You know that it was I think it was in April of 2016 that we had Black Lives Matter Day.
Yep.
I just shared that. Right. I just shared that in my memories, and that was a great day for all of us. Let's get into our guiding principle. This is like the glue that keeps all of these personalities together. We've got our guiding principles from the Movement for Black Lives convening. That was in 2016, right before the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. The 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. And these young people put together a dynamic set of guiding principles, and we kind of remixed it to fit where we are now. Yep. These are the guiding principles. All Black lives matter, queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, wealthy Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
And that means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principal struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe.
Ashe.
Those are our 10 guiding principles. And I'm glad you talked about some of the people that they may not see because everybody's not in front of the camera or behind the microphone. And a big shout out to JoJo Talking. You can find her on TikTok. She created our slideshow that you see right now that gives you an opportunity to read our guiding principles as we say them. Hey, look, I need to get off of here. We're going to,
Well, the moment.
Oh, our Black Lives.
All about the moment he added.
It's 10 years. We're 10 years in. For you, if we talked about a Black Lives Matter moment, something that sticks out to you that you were a part of during all of our planning, what would yours be?
I'm going to say our first Black Lives Matter movie theater. We during that year, our first couple of years, like we've done all the stuff from awards and scholarships and everything, and we decided to do a movie theater outside, which is currently right now Kwanzaa Park. This was before it was Kwanzaa Park, and all the beautification and stuff got added into there by Junction Coalition.
Okay, shout out to Junction.
Me, Brother Washington, and I think Dan, and maybe 2 other people.
Oh man, yeah. I'm trying to remember the person's name, but I'm not going to mention his name because he'd like to stay anonymous, confidential. All right, that way we can utilize him next time.
But we had some friends. We got some scaffolding, and me and Brother Washington put up a 30-foot scaffold for a free outdoor basic black movie theater. We showed Fruitville Station.
Wow. It was 30 feet by 20 feet. I don't know how we built this scaffolding.
Allen wrenches and a prayer.
Man, look, we had a semi-truck tarp that we used as a movie screen. And we also wanted to use that tarp to print Black Lives Matter hanging over the Cherry Street Bridge, but we never got to that. All right. We never got to that. So, hey, listen, I really need to take a break. Yep. I'm going to come back later on with my Black Lives Matter moment. And I want to talk about Black Lives Matter Day and why that was so significant for the city of Toledo. So hang tight, family. This is the CSRN podcast, our Week in Review.
Happy National Poetry Month to everybody as well.
We'll be right back.
It's the Panama Canal.
En esta hermosísima ciudad de Orlando.
I'm here in Barranquilla, Colombia, and in sunny Miami. Daytona Beach, mis amigos, that's where we're at today.
Desde la ciudad de Cartagena, Colombia.
We are in Orlando right now, here in Florida.
I'm Helene Sheets, Director of Marketing and Communications at beautiful Lourdes University, and we've been a proud sponsor and supporter of Voces Latinas TV for over a decade. It has been a fantastic partnership. It's been our doorway into the Latino community. We've met so many incredible people, created so many partnerships. Our students absolutely love the connections we've made through Voces Latinas TV, and we're looking forward to at least another decade, 2 decades.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review where we stream live. This is live, so it's a great chance that we might have some mistakes, some technical difficulties, but I got to file it in the it is what it is folder and keep it pushing. All right, family, you know, as with CSRN culture, whenever we have a dynamite guest, we always ask them who they are, what they're wearing, and what are we talking about today. So who are you? What are you wearing? And what are we talking about today?
Well, my name is Feynman Walker. I'm wearing a black polo shirt and jeans. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I am an honorably discharged veteran of the United States military. I am a stand-up comedian, father, football coach. I wear many titles.
All right. Okay. All right. Yesterday we had a discussion about your son, and even though some may have seen your stand up, all right, and word on the street is that, hey, you don't leave nothing on the table. All right.
No.
All right. You have a son.
Mm-hmm.
Your son has your same name, except for I think he's a junior.
He's the second. Correct.
He's a second. What is it about your son that you want everyone to know?
Well, my son right now is incarcerated in the state of Ohio, and he's incarcerated because of the gun law, stand your ground, which is in effect but did not apply to him.
Okay, all right. So, why didn't it apply to him? What happened that it could have applied to him, but for whatever reason, it didn't?
Well, to make a long story short and to say what other people are afraid to say, my son shot and killed a man in downtown Toledo in self-defense. And of course, he is a black man, and he also killed a white man in downtown Toledo.
Okay. And what year was this?
This was on July 8th of 2021.
And listen, Brother Feynman, thank you for being here. And of course, whenever people see myself and Jody, we're talking about some serious things, but there's some levity that we have along with it. And thank you for coming and sharing this.
Mm-hmm.
So he's incarcerated now.
Correct.
All right. Defending himself.
Yes.
He killed a white man.
Yes.
All right. Why do you think that the stand your ground law did not apply to him?
Because my son's case of stand your ground law would have been the first case of stand your ground in the city of Toledo. And they did not want it to be a black man killing a white man in downtown Toledo. So
for your son right now, where is he? How's he doing with all of this?
He's locked up in Noble Correction Facility in Southern Ohio. He's doing as well as could be expected under the circumstances. We keep him with a lot of books, and he's tried to enroll in college while he's there. So he's doing the things that he can to try to help keep his mental health up to par and not lose his self-control.
All right. So he's there. You're right here. How are you dealing with all of this?
This has been probably one of the roughest things in my life I've ever had to deal with. The system was supposed to be for law-abiding citizens, and he followed the law to the letter, but still was found guilty. So that is a serious problem.
Right. So I think during the trial, go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh, during when it first happened, it was a mind-blowing experience. No parent wants to wake up to the news that their child is in jail for committing murder. We do have sympathy for the deceased children because they're victims of this crime and they had nothing to do with it. There are a lot of things that we are remorseful for because we never raised our son to want to be a killer. Right. We just understand that in the United States that sometimes it is just better to have a gun and never need it than to need a gun and not have it.
So he was defending himself.
Correct.
What was it that, if you don't mind, what was it that that made Feynman feel that he needed to defend himself?
Well, to describe exactly what happened on that night, this is the testimony of the fiance of the deceased.
Oh, okay.
Her testimony in court said that her and her fiance left for Astoria, came to Toledo to go to a Mud Hens game. After the Mud Hens game, they had went to several bars. She remembers going to 7 bars and having 7 beers, a beer and a shot at each bar. So that was 7 locations she remembered. She said after that, she remembered going to 7 other locations, but don't remember how many, having a beer and a shot at each one of those bars. Somewhere during the course of the night, her and her fiance get separated and she's lost. She's not from Toledo, never been to Toledo. My son approached her on the street on Monroe Street crying and asked her if she needed assistance. She told him that she was separated from her boyfriend. She didn't know where he was and she didn't know where she was. My son said, call him and I'll try to give him directions to where we are or give you directions to him. In that process, he walked up, saw my son speaking to her and told my son that, get away from my girlfriend. She doesn't need any of your nigga help. Pushed my son, he hit his head on the wall, and that's when a fight between him and the other guy started.
So, all right, so we've got a fight. This is downtown Toledo. And you know how that gets. It's a lot of people.
Right after Mud Hen game.
It's right after Mud Hen game. People are drinking. People are on edge. So they get into a fight. Was that when everything happened?
No. My son, during that fight, had a pistol on him. He lost the fight. There were 3 people
bystanders. This is her testimony. There were
Okay.
3 people that broke the fight up. They were walking away with my son. She walked over to thank my son for trying to help her, which infuriated her boyfriend even more. So he walked across the parking lot stalking my son, trying to start another fight. My son had already lost the first fight.
All right.
And he wasn't about to engage in the second.
That's right.
That's when he pulled his pistol and told him to get the fuck away from him like 4 or 5 times. And he didn't listen. And then she said that in her testimony that that he said something to my son along the lines of, if you don't shoot me, I'm going to take the gun and kill you.
Okay.
And then he rushed my son and he fired.
Okay. All right. So did any of this conversation come up in the trial? Were the prosecutors, was anyone notified that, hey, this is what happened? If this was anybody else, they would be celebrated for defending themselves. They would have been.
There were the victim's fiance. There were 3 other independent people that all gave the same story, and my son. So you have 5 people with a collaborating story. But what happened was they started listening to the prosecution and the police give their own narrative of the situation.
Even though they weren't there.
Even though they weren't there. The witnesses that testified, their story was basically completely omitted. And they started listening to what the police officer and the prosecutor said.
Even though they weren't there when it happened.
Correct.
If it was switched around, I'm positive that they would lean on that witness testimony.
Oh, definitely.
Especially if there was more than one witness all saying the same thing.
Correct.
Right. So where are we now? Is there an appeals process going on?
The appeal process, we've just went through the appeal process, and that turned out to be something that lawyers found extremely strange, because the appeal process, the decision was upheld, but we have 3 different judges, a panel of 3 different judges in an appeal process gave 3 different rulings on the ruling of law.
Okay, how can that happen?
It's not supposed to happen, because we're only supposed to have one law. The current law right now is stand your ground.
Right.
We had one judge that said that this was a perfect case of stand your ground, and that he should be released. The second judge said that the prosecutor was correct in her assessment, and she went by the law that was in place before stand your ground.
Okay.
And then the third judge quoted law that had nothing to do with criminal, but had everything to do with civil law. So we have 3 judges giving 3 different case law on one case.
Apparently I've always been on the wrong side of the law, so I don't know how to process this. So
Correct.
how are they going to get that right?
Well, we have to file and take the case now to Ohio Supreme Court. And fortunate for us, Ohio Supreme Court doesn't go by the codes and ordinances that the city implements as law, but they must go by the actual law, by federal and state standards.
Okay, and in the law that's in place, or the law
that's in place, the law that's in place now, because the law that's in place now was in place before he went to trial. So that is the standard by which his case should have been judged.
And they were trying to process it on
the previous law,
because it's as if we're going to have a poster guide for stand your ground, we rather for it to be somebody else.
Correct.
And not Feynman the second.
Definitely
not him, because that would send another message.
Oh yeah.
All right. And apparently they don't want that message.
Oh, they are afraid of the message. They're afraid of the truth, but we're not.
Right.
There's so much truth that has been covered up during this trial that is just scary.
Man. Okay, I know that Feynman, your son knows that you're pushing hard out here, and it's difficult to do because most times some parents might feel that, well, I really don't want to say anything. I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to look like I agree with my son. What is it that makes you different that you can come on here and say the things that you saying?
What we believe is that we raised our son, and gave him the qualities that he needed to understand of what it took to be a law-abiding citizen. And in this situation, he followed the law to the letter, and the law did not stand up for him the way he, followed the law.
Yeah.
And that is a problem. Not worldwide, but across this country.
I agree.
We have a system that is not broken, but it is corrupt.
That's right.
The system's not broken. The minute money became the issue, there's no more justice.
That's right, man. That's right. Hey, listen, I'm coming upon my my time, man. I want you to come back because on the screen we've got Feynman Walker Sr., concerned father, comedian, and I don't know how I'm going to segue the comedian part to this without laughing after.
Well, the thing about laughter is that laughter is the ultimate medicine. It cures everything. When the body is in laughter, it is a happiness that we all share. And the thing about comedy that I love is that laughter has no discrimination. Laughter has no preference of gender.
Go ahead, man.
Laughter brings something that a lot of people need in their lives, especially in a world where we're filled with people with depression and other issues. Laughter can conquer a lot. And I also use laughter to educate.
You know what? Jody's off screen, but I'm sitting here listening, and I feel like I'm on a podcast listening to you. I just felt for a second. I'm like, man, this is good. This is good stuff. I'm like, oh, he right there.
Yeah,
he right there. That's what's up, man.
There are things, I use comedy to educate people in manners like, for instance, when I speak of politics. I believe that all politicians fart in the tub and bite the bubble.
Okay. Right. Okay.
I am not a Republican or a Democrat. I believe choosing one of those parties is equivalent of choosing a pimp. Okay. Either way it goes, you're going to be face down, butt up out here in these streets.
Okay.
There's definitely 5 things I'm going to tell you right now that you can trust more.
Let's go.
Donald Trump.
Okay. Let's go.
Number 1, you could trust an alligator with a pet me sign before you trust Donald Trump.
Okay, that's 1.
Number 2, you could trust food prepared with Flint, Michigan water before you trust Donald Trump.
Okay, all right, valid.
Number 3, you could trust a fart during a diarrhea attack before you trust Donald Trump.
Okay, true that.
And number 4, you could trust Ray Charles as an Uber driver before you trust Donald Trump. And for those of y'all that don't know, Ray is blind and dead.
Ooh,
I just want to add that.
Okay, that was extra. I didn't know that. All right. I didn't know that.
And number 5, this is the craziest one. You could trust a woman with broad shoulders and an Adam's apple before you trust Donald Trump.
Okay, all right.
Now, that is bad.
All right,
but
no
that
lies.
should tell you how bad it is.
All right, no lies detected. And family, yes, this is our last show. All right, this is our last show.
Those are jokes.
It's all good, jokes, man. It's all good. It's all good. Jody, we should be writing this down so we can say it next week when he's not here. And
you can just call me back, man. I'll come back, or you could Zoom me on the phone.
Oh man, that's what's up.
I'm here whenever you need me.
All right. Before we close out, one of the things that CSRN does is within our guiding principles, we talk about self-care, and it's an essential thing that we do. We actually plan to dial it back. All right. We actually plan to do a strategic retreat so that we can come back next week or next month. So when it comes to self-care, man, What is it that you do?
Well, I'm going to tell you a few things I do for self-care. Number one thing I do for self-care is I drink water. I try to drink a gallon of water every day religiously. As far as my health goes, what I do for self-care of taking care of me is that I change the way I eat, change the way I cook and prepare my food. I also have changed the way I look at medicine. You know, for instance, my sister was diagnosed with high blood pressure. And they gave her these high blood pressure medicines. She had 3 different prescriptions, okay?
Yeah.
Each one of the prescriptions, it said, do not take grapefruit juice with this. So I was like, aren't they giving you the formula right now? You know, if you take grapefruit juice with your blood pressure medicine, it drastically drops your blood pressure. So why not just take the grapefruit juice and not the medicine? And her blood pressure has plummeted, bro.
Okay.
So,
all right. That's what's up.
Yeah, that is some. But my self-care, man, mentally, I like to read to exercise my mind. You know, I physically work out with my children to help exercise my body.
Yeah.
And then the way I eat and take care of myself is my best way of self-care, because what you put into your body has a lot to do with how your body responds.
That's true. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Last question is regarding gratitude. Our sister, Anika Fields, she puts together the Empowerment Toolbox. And within that is, she talks about journaling and how it reduces stress. She talks about setting your goal, having some reasonable expectations for life. And she talks about gratitude. So, Anika, if you see this, hey, we shouting you out. All right. So,
shout out.
Yeah, we should get at least 5 more journals, Jody. All right, for saying this. So, 3 things that you're grateful for, Feynman. What would those things be?
Number one, I'm grateful for being able to have both parents in my life.
Oh, wow.
That really has molded me into a different person. I was able to have some things that I realized that a lot of my friends didn't. Number 2, I am really grateful for my time in the military. And I'm going to tell you why. I was able to see places in the world I never saw.
All right.
When I was in the military, I was in a foreign country. That was the first time I ever seen a Black Jesus.
Oh, okay.
You know, I was able to meet people that I never, ever would have met.
Man, this is good.
And I learned a lot from that experience. And I'm also grateful for every bad experience I've ever been through.
Whoa.
Because my bad experiences have made me stronger and have learned more from my bad experience than I have from my triumphs. So I am grateful for every last one of those, because I don't look at them as bad experiences.
I never heard it
I
like
look
that.
at them as learning experiences.
Okay, I never heard of it. Jody, we should be writing this down. That's dope.
And before we go, I do have one more thing I would love to say. And I say this at the end of all of my comedy shows.
All right.
When we leave here today, or when we walk away from this podcast, every person that's watching this or hearing this, you have an opportunity to change the world today. And we can change the world by spreading love. Love is the one thing that you see less and less of everywhere you look. But you have to be careful. Love is also like a fart, because if you have to force it, it's probably shit.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. Hey, okay. Can we count on you coming back?
Yes, you can count on me.
Man, this is what's up. Hey, this is my brother, Feynman. Feynman Walker Sr.
Yes.
Man, thank you for being here with us.
Yes.
And we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back with Jody Summers and our shout outs and solutions. This is the CSRN podcast, our week in review. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Audio Jungle.
Audio Jungle.
Oh, okay. We looks like we still have the music on. We're gonna fade that music on out for you. All right. I feel like I'm on one of Jody's radio shows. All right, there you go. All right. Hey, listen, family, we are back. Shout out to Feynman Walker Sr. for gracing the microphones. He's not only a concerned father, but also a comedian too. And so don't cancel us, cancel him. And also we're going to be promoting some of his comedy shows that's coming up. That's a dynamic person. And you have no idea who's got gifts. All right. Who's got gifts? Hey, family, we're back. This is our shout outs and concerns. Jody, has there been anything that you've been involved in or we've been involved in within the last week or so? And also, are there some things that you know are coming up soon that we need to know about?
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe eventually I'll come up with a catchy name for this segment, but this is just kind of my local guide of things that have went on or are going on, whether I can be there or not. I search these things out or try and find these things out to continue the growth of my community. Because even if I can't be there, you never know how impactful, especially with the algorithm nowadays, a like, a share, or maybe interested could be to that event. A lot of events and stuff. It's like, well, wasn't that well attended? Did you tell anybody? Sometimes you can't expect, I don't know, I've been doing this a decade now, as I just celebrated 10 years of entertainment and hosting open mics and stuff like that. And a lot of times you get an event and then it's on the entertainers to do the stuff instead of the place and everything like that. But
that's right.
This is my way, a little way of helping out. Again, we missed last week for April's Fool, so I'm going to take you back to the 27th and what was going on that week. And I believe I did do upcoming stuff, but just in case you missed it, we had the Toledo Has Spoken at Collingwood Presbyterian Church. That is an open mic. If you can sing, you rap, clean, R&B, all the stuff, and the historic stills,
Sacred Still.
Sacred Still, which if you've been watching the news lately, his grandson's been on Channel 11,
That's right.
Grace and everything. But we do that every last Saturday of the month, so it'll be, I think, April 26th, I believe.
I think so.
Month. So I'll be there, some new poems. Hopefully I'll see you out. There was a community concert series featuring Tuff Francis and the band at 4747 Hill. It was Sunday Praise and Worship at 2030 Putnam Church. There was the Door to Adam Street public engagement session.
Yeah, that was
actually
big.
Two of them. One was Monday, the 31st, here at Mott. Didn't attend. Again, I've spoken my piece to my fellow constituents and city council people that I don't like the idea of you just coming in and looking at billboards to kind of what's already done. Hopefully in future projects, they will do that. But this door to Adam Street, which I think has gotten $20 million now for everything. So there was the one on the 31st and the one on the 1st. On my birthday, which thank you all for the birthday wishes online, in person, and everything like that. The Big 42, or the Year of Life, if you watch some sci-fi and stuff like that. So that was the 3rd, and I decided to go attend the comedy night at Toll House. We just had a comedian on.
All right.
But Cool Keith, who was actually one of the very first comedians when I started my open mic April 1st, 2015, which was the prelude to me being on stage, because the only background I actually had in poetry, it's kind of crazy 10 years later, was an open mic I attended March 23rd, 2015. And I attended that because the week prior, the bar owner at the time, it was called Caribbean Breeze, shout out to Joe Denise.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was coming in there promoting and stuff like that. The reason why I'm so kind of good at this, I've a lot in radio. I've been in the business since I was 5 years old, on somebody's camera, on radio since I want to say 2012 with Cast Off. But yeah, Cool Keith was one of the very first people to ever come to my open mics and stuff. And I went up there. It was funny. I got to see some local comedians around here, Deepanay, who's been downtown a lot. So I actually got to see her in person and stuff like that. Saturday, April 5th, was also the day I can now earn my granddaddy status.
That's right.
My little one had her little one. You can see the stuff on it there. I'm not doing social media babies and all that stuff. If her mom wants to, if the dad wants to, I'm just grandpappy. And just like her, my life is very difficult. I'm a lot of all smiles and everything, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that, as we as advocacies know, if they can't get to you because you are well guarded in your community, they'll come to your family. So that's why
right.
You don't see my family on here. You can read about them in the books. You can see it in the artwork. If I do decide to have a family outing and stuff, please don't paparazzi. I might Eminem you.
That's right.
That's an old reference. But anyway, there was also the 14th Annual Business and Health Expo with Danetta Carter, which was one of the first things I ever did, coming out as a vendor and buying books and stuff. I know Brother Washington was there.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe a little bit, he'll give you his firsthand experience on that. Also, April 5th was a very super busy day for the city and the country. There was the hands-off event that went nationwide. Toledo had its own Fight Back event. So shout out to all the people that were able to make that. There was April's Lifeline Community Dinner, which is, I believe that is the first Saturday of every month. I missed it because, again, grandbaby. There was also the walk. I want to say it was a 13-mile, because they went back and forth for Kimani.
That's right.
So shout out to all of the organizers and the people for that and everything. I will be hosting one with Anton Parks and Survivors series and all of that stuff. That'll be on the 18th. We'll probably talk about that closer next episode. So if you can make it out to that. Sunday, April 6th, there was the praise, worship, and word wake up, the time at Putnam Church again. April 6th was Shop for a Cause, Young Artists at Work, 1909 Jefferson. And just for some stuff upcoming now, if you're able to make it, actually right now, because Tuesday we do our show. There's political stuff that goes on. There's everything that goes on, but the show is where we are. So if you are able to make it or have made it there was the Pen the Leader Path book signing and discussion at 1447 North Summit, which is Toll House. So shout out to that author, retroactively going back. Shout out to Queenish, who I was able to attend her first book signing. And that was at Bertha Mays, I believe. I want to say that was Thursday or Friday, but it was an awesome book signing. I was there and everything, got the book. Gonna get to reading it soon.
All right.
Essentially,
I'm sure you will.
But so that's what's going on right now, is the Pen the Leader Path book signing and discussion. There is the Riverwalk Tours, which not sure how that works. I guess is set up enough to where people could walk it, but they're doing the tours April 10th and at 9 a.m. So if you could sign up, make it and everything. I'm pretty sure it's probably on Toledo.com. I know Cool Keith stuff was there. We had a few people in the audience. I was like, yeah, that's how we found you.
That's right.
This Thursday, there is the Love Your Plant poetry contest, live reading at 909 Jefferson. I'm going to try and make that. I know I'm not leaving until Friday, so I might show my face up there. This Saturday at 8:30 a.m. is the Community Health Summit at Delta Hotels by Marriott. This Saturday is Uncloistered Poetry. That's Joni McKentry. It's been going on forever. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it because I'll be in Atlanta. Check my page for exactly where I'll be. But that is going to be at the Attic at 6 p.m. This Wednesday, I still believe it's on. I haven't heard anything about it being canceled, is the Respect Your Mic at the Code from 7 to 9, which is on the east side across from the Dollar General or the liquor store. If you're familiar with anything on the east side, that's probably one of the things we might be familiar for. But hope to see you out. Shout out to Sunkiss. It's too many notes. But Sunkiss, who's also done a whole bunch of stuff in the community. She runs a couple open mics every other week. So ours is normally the second Wednesday of the month. So unless I get a cancellation, I will see you tomorrow, 7 to 9 at the Code. This Sunday, 1 p.m., Chosen Kids' second annual Easter hunt at the Toledo Botanical Gardens. That's at 1 p.m., so hopefully you can make it out. Sunday is also every Sunday acoustics open jam at the Jam Spot, 103 10th Street, Toledo, Ohio. And then we will be back before then. So if there is anything else going on in the city, you can tag me, tag Brother Washington, tag our page, as long as it's positive and growth in the community. One thing I like to stress, especially as we are getting into the warmer months, we are not ambulance chasers. And what I mean by that is, I know in lieu of a lot of stuff going on, there's been groups that have popped up and all this stuff. But as I said at the beginning of the show, I have a huge caseload. Brother Washington has a huge caseload. Mostly all of the social service workers that I know have a huge caseload, and a lot of funding is getting cut. A lot of things are getting cut. So if you don't see us out there in the community, we're probably working on something. But if you do have advice or something, I would suggest you come to us directly, not use social media as a platform to keyboard warrior, because a lot of times that could, even if it is a factual thing, that could dissuade people who could help you from finding it, because you're not contacting us on the proper channels.
All right. Hey, I wanted to go back and talk about Danetta Carter.
Yep.
This is the artwork that we had, the artwork that we had up last week regarding the business and health expo. I think this was also one of the first time that I got a chance to get to the new Wayman Palmer. I believe that the rooms that Danetta had, all of the rooms were filled with vendors, people passing out information. I was there. I had the CSRN table up. I didn't take any pictures. I didn't share any pictures, any video. I was too busy, meeting new people, talking to people that I didn't know. I ran into Robert Torres, who's running for mayor. We're going to have him on the podcast, hopefully within the next week or so. A strong advocate for the community, strong advocate for Toledo. We'll have him on, and whoever else want to come on too. It is what it is. Also, I had the CSRN table, and also had the Multi-Faith Council of Northwest Ohio. We bought 2 tables. We bought the table for CSRN. We got the table for Multi-Faith Council.
Wow.
So I had a unique combination of things. I've had the table where it was mess around and find out table, and then I had the multi-faith table, meaning that, hey, let's go ahead and get along with one another. So both tables had a lot of traffic, a lot of attention. So once again, shout out to our sister Danetta Carter. Great job organizing. Great job also to all of her volunteers, all of the people that volunteered for Danetta Carter. They were class act. They were very helpful, super professional. You think that they were getting $30 an hour, for doing that. Great job. And I think lastly, I wanted to talk about the
Black Lives Matter moment.
Oh no, the break the silence. they have every year.
Yep, I did.
Dr. Lynn Hamer, she doesn't like me to call her doctor, but I met Dr. Hamer in, I think maybe 2006, 2007. And ever since then, we've been organizing together, and she created this. It's called Break the Silence. It's Dr. King's speech on the Vietnam War. And we have there's like 50 organizations there, and everybody has a part of the speech that we all, yeah. And this year was the greatest number of organizations, the greatest number of attendees. This was at Monroe Methodist Church right there on Monroe. So shout out to the pastor that's there. Shout out to Larry Clark. I think he was a former pastor there. And shout out to everybody that was there. We had the CSRN table there too set up, and everybody got a chance to see our new backdrop that we were premiering now all over the city. So if you see us at an event, check out our backdrop. It's going to take you a minute to figure it out, because first you're going to think that we're just promoting corporate America, but then just take a few seconds to look at the logos.
Let your eyes adjust.
Let your eyes
put
adjust.
The glasses on.
Right. And I think lastly, what I wanted to, I'm going to talk about this, and then I want to give my Black Lives Matter moment regarding Black Lives Matter Day. Let's see. If you can pick up this week's issue of the Final Call newspaper, it's titled, the headline is "The Grim Realities Facing Maternal Health." And if you go to page, I think it's on page 2, it talks about the stats. And this is from the National Center for Health. It says that the study found from 2022 to 2023, the maternal mortality rate for Asian women fell from 13 to 11 deaths per 100,000 live births. The birth for white women fell from 19 to 14.5. The rate for Hispanic women fell from 17 to 12. For Black women, the rate rose from 49.5 deaths to a little over 50 deaths. And according to several sources, maternal mortality or maternal death when a woman dies during pregnancy or up to 42 days after the end of pregnancy from health problems related to pregnancy. So we really need to look into this. And as the headline of the paper said, is the grim realities facing maternal health. So if you see the brothers out with the Final Call newspaper this weekend, make sure you get this issue of the paper. We're going to have a few of the Final Call newspapers at some of the businesses in the community. So shout out to Bobby Howard. They allow us to keep the Final Call there. Yummies, let's keep the Final Call newspaper. Powell's, let us keep the Final Call newspaper. The Central Market on Central near Cherry, let's us keep the papers there. A couple other places, we keep them at Mott Branch Library. Whenever I can, we drop some off at Kent Branch Library. So that's the Final Call newspaper. And be on the lookout for this. I can't get into all of this, but I'm going to get into it next week too. May Day, the DSA. What does the DSA stand for? Okay.
This is live. That's why it happens sometimes live with all the acronyms and stuff.
Right. Well, it's the socialist activists.
Okay,
all right.
Let me see if I can find their page.
Yeah,
Northwest
find their page.
Ohio
Find
DSA.
I've got
political and educational discussion.
Yeah, let's
DSA
do it.
Stands for.
I should know this. I'm having an old person moment right now.
But that's okay. That's why we all got phones. They took all of our memories away.
Okay.
I can't remember phone numbers anymore.
Yeah, I want to read the Mayday demands.
So DSA does not have the description on what their acronym.
Okay.
But they're a political education.
All right. And it's our I don't want to say the, because there may be more than one socialist organization in Toledo, but the ones that are putting forth the May Day, it says that in Ohio, across the country, immigrants lack basic human rights and under attack. So these are the three demands: that they demand Toledo become a sanctuary city for all immigrants, that Toledo become a sanctuary city for all our brothers and sisters that are part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And in our guiding principle, we say all Black lives matter, queer Black lives, trans Black lives, and also the demand for the city of Toledo to completely divest from Israel. So these are some really tough demands. And I talked with one of the members today, and be it the will of the universe, I like to be there representing CSRN in solidarity with standing with Toledo being a sanctuary city.
And what DSA stands for is the Democratic Socialists of America.
Ooh, why did I not know that? But
well,
the Democratic, So shout out to the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, and those three demands: divesting from Israel, making Toledo a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA plus, and also making Toledo become a sanctuary city for all immigrants. So it is what it is. You can be mad if you want, but when history is written, somebody's going to ask, didn't somebody say something? Didn't somebody do anything? And I told the person today, we're going to be on that list, that, yeah, we were there, regardless if they listen or not. We are mercy to them by ringing the alarm that something is wrong. Something is wrong with the mortality rate of Black mothers. There is something wrong with our education system. There is something wrong with the way that our water is polluted with fluoride. All right, we can go on and on. Somebody's got to ring the alarm. If it's us, so be it. All right. So I think that's all I wanted to cover. I wanted to pay some bills right now too. All right, then we'll get into 5 minutes of heat.
Did you do your moment?
Oh, my Black Lives Matter moment. All right, Black Lives Matter moment had to be April of 2016, which was Black Lives Matter Day. And shout out to the city of Toledo that gave us a proclamation for Black Lives Matter Day. And that was the day that the Nazis were coming to Toledo, and they've been here multiple times. So somebody rolled out the red carpet, all right, for them, or the white carpet for them. And we decided that instead of going downtown Toledo and being set up like so many people got set up in 2005, that we would have an alternate event. And at the time, Reggie Williams was the director at the Doug, or the person in charge. He allowed us to use the property of the Doug. We had over, it was hundreds of people came there to hear music, hear poetry, hear some speeches. We had vendors, we had everything there. And Black Lives Matter Day was a success. And that kept so many people from going down to Toledo. And we had the channel, the energy group that had a van that will go downtown and get people, tell our brothers and sisters, this is not where you belong. And we're going to put you in a van, all right, with your permission, all right, and bring you back to the Frederick Douglass. And shout out to everybody that had a hand in that, because we just didn't do it by ourselves. So many people made that happen. And that is my Black History moment. And if you want to support what we do, you can follow us on YouTube at Community Solidarity Response Network. You only got to click it in once, all right? And then every time if you like, hit the notification, you'll be able to, whenever we have a podcast, you'll be notified. If you want to support us, you can support us via Cash App. That's the hashtag CSRN Toledo 419, and PayPal is CSRN 419. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, listen to us on Spotify, watch and hear us on YouTube. And yeah, we are going to start posting on X, formerly known as Twitter. Yep, I'll do it, Jody, so you don't have to bash Twitter, all right, or X, formerly known as Twitter. I'll do that.
I'll get a donation from Elon.
Yeah, well, okay, all right, well, hey, all right, you got to bite the bullet somehow. But
Right.
and also, our Black Lives Matter signs. Whenever you see our podcast, we have Black Lives Matter yard signs in back of us. Those are you can get them for I think it's a $20 donation. You can hit us up on our inbox and say, "Hey, Brother Washington, hey, can you bring a yard sign by this place or that place?" Yeah, we'll set something up. All right, just don't, you ain't gonna set me up and have bring a yard sign and whatever. But yeah, just hit us up on our inbox. We'll get a sign to you. Jody, I think that is it. I don't know if there's anything else I need to share.
Well, I'm going to say one thing, and it's kind of political, but shout out to Cory Booker for the filibuster. I actually met him during his presidential run, thanks to Brittany Moore. There was a big thing in Cleveland and stuff going on. So every time I see him on camera, it's like, hey, that guy. So I know he just, attempts and stuff like that. Politics is a little bit different, but he spoke for the longest time in Congress in the history, breaking the record, because I think it was for over 24 hours. So
wow.
Shout out to him. I don't know, even with all my years of expertise, if I could speak for 24 hours plus.
Oh, that's dope. You know what? We will be able to have just as, you didn't need that. We need to get a blooper reel. Well, that's the whole damn show. But imagine if we did a poetry marathon for some type of charity.
Yeah, I mean, I got 7,000 pieces, but definitely more than 24 hours. But to read all of that, but you never know.
Hey, we'll have different poets.
Yeah, different poets. We could get Hunter Prayman.
Okay.
Reminded me. And as I'm tagging everybody online, the open mic for tomorrow is on 7 to 9, $5 cover at the Code. So I hope to see you tomorrow.
All right, so we're going to transition into 5 minutes of heat. And 5 minutes of heat is how we close out. We don't close out by saying meeting is adjourned and somebody hits a gavel or whatever they do in those other groups. We use creative expression, and Jody has been our resident creative for the last 10 years. What do you have for us today?
So, and I actually have something new for all of the month of National Poetry. I'm somewhat doing the 30 days of writing, except I'm not doing it every single day because, sometimes I need my break from social media, but there will be 30 written this month. I'm about 12 in, and then I also will be writing the next chapter to the childhood trauma series. So hopefully by the end of the month or the beginning of May, it'd be on bookshelves or I'll have copies and stuff like that. But I was thinking about a series that I'm doing. A couple of years ago, I started a 30-day series called the Self-Care Checklist.
Okay.
And it's a list of basically how are you doing, things that you would check up on yourself, and it changes a couple of things every single day, like one phrase or one word or add something. But I didn't have the contrast to that. So now, as working in advocacy for almost a decade and everything, I wanted to tell our side of the story. So my next project is going to be that, what it looks like from addiction and service provider, somewhere in the middle of both of those sides, since I've lived both of those, not necessarily addiction, but needing service providers.
Yeah.
And how that looks from us when you're blocked by so many things. Oh, you were 1 minute late, your insurance canceled, all the other stuff that you can go through. You don't qualify for this. But most service providers do not get to speak to people. So this is, it's called Take a Seat. And it's my impression on what if you came in, your therapist sat down and start talking to you. Before that, though, it is National Poetry Month, and I want to make sure my intro is good for Atlanta. Shout out to Shawana Wynn. I can't wait to see you. Is my intro. I am an open book, yes, an open book to those that decide to read. 1,000 words, yes, 1,000 words to those that have only caught a glimpse of me. And a lifetime, it's a lifetime to those that can say they were part of my story. If you are anywhere under the sound of my voice, you are now family. Because on this stage, yes, on this stage is where I share the most vulnerable parts of myself. And I hope, yes, I hope that you hear me. So let's begin. Peace. Take a seat. You know, the funny thing about advocacy and community organizations that reach out to the community through a grassroots structure, nobody cares about us until they need us. Nobody shows up to food drives or reshares open meetings until something bad happens. Nobody comes out to protest or attends community politics until it hits close to home. Nobody cares about what you're doing in your community if they can't see you publicly sacrificing every waking moment. No one shows up to community centers until they want something for free. No one, yes, no one is enthused about change until it affects them. We sit in poorly attended rooms, speaking to people who mostly work in the fields that we do, trying to reach out to communities who don't really want to get to know us. Some of the strongest people I know are those that get up and do their jobs in the fields of mental health, domestic violence, advocacy, organizing, city planning, outreach, and prevention. Without needing a thank you for showing up, we do this out of the kindness of our hearts. And even when most of us go home to a drowning situation, we find others to lean on. We are human. And when tragedies happen, sometimes it's the reason you don't see us is because we are already doing our job to the best of our capability, with limited resources, barely any support, misunderstanding from the professional world, and internet warriors who would not give one moment of their lives to fill our shoes. We sacrifice our privacy for prosperity in the community, even though there are some of us who would use advocacy to find victims in circumstances of vulnerability because they are considered safe. Grief is not something we teach people to deal with outside of our services, even though it leads to anger, depression, fear, lashing out because nowhere feels safe, and loss of self-identity. If you are feeling down today and happen to come across this, I appreciate you. Even if I never meet you in person, thank you for your service, and I commend your commitment to people who often get left behind. I hope you get the hug you might need today. I see you, and if no one's told you today, thank you for your service and peace.
And as always, we snap our fingers. All right. Great job. Great job. And shout out to one of our featured businesses today. That's Junction Family Pharmacy. Go check them out at Door in Detroit, right in the plaza there. Check out Dr. Patton and the staff there that's doing a wonderful job. And Jody, as always, all lives can't matter until what? Black lives matter. And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter. Justice or else?